Most people think time is something they spend, but the wise know time is something that spends them. There is a kind of silence that teaches more than 1,000 teachers. It lives not in libraries or temples, but in the space between thoughts, in the breath you forget you're breathing, in the pause before a tear falls, in the stillness after a storm of wanting. If you could sit with that silence for 20 minutes today, it might whisper something that changes the next 20 years of your life. Sit now as if the earth were holding you, because it is. Let your shoulders fall like leaves in autumn. Let your mind be like a pool that has ceased to ripple. In this space there is no ambition, no past to regret, no future to chase. Only presence. And presence is not a moment, it is eternity, folded softly into this breath. Breathe again, not to control, not to change, but to feel. The lungs expand like wings, the body receives. Life is happening, you are not making it happen. You are being breathed by the same force that moves the clouds, grows the forests, pulls the tide. Where in all of this is the self you keep trying to improve? The Buddha did not teach us to become better versions of ourselves. He taught us to see that the self is a mirage. What you call I is merely a current, a swirl of sensation, memory, identity, fear. A story whispered so often it began to believe itself, but sit long enough in stillness, and the voice grows quiet, the story loosens, and what remains is not a person, it is peace. In these 20 minutes, you do not need to achieve enlightenment. Just become intimate with your being. When the mind wanders, and it will, smile like a parent watching a curious child. Gently return to the breath, to the now. There is no failure in returning. Returning is the practice. Returning is the path. You may notice an itch, a discomfort, a thought like, "This is pointless." Good. That is the restless ego trying to stay alive. Smile at it too. You are not at war with the ego. You are simply watching it. And in watching, you are free. You do not fix the mind. You witness the mind. You do not cling to comfort. You notice the clinging. And the noticing is the liberation. This is how the awakened walk, not above the world, but within it, quietly seeing the illusion for what it is, quietly seeing themselves as no one and therefore as everyone. And so the breath continues, not because you will it, but because life wills itself through you. In the silence, subtle truths begin to rise. You start to see that your pain was never personal, that your sorrow, your craving, your fear, they are not failures of character, but symptoms of forgetting. Forgetting what? That nothing in this world can truly be possessed. Not even your own name, not even your own face. Everything you have tried to hold has slipped, one by one, through your fingers. Every pleasure has faded. Every moment has passed. Even now, this breath is already becoming memory. But this is not reason for despair. It is the door to freedom. Anicca, impermanence, is not a curse, but a cleansing. It washes away the illusion that anything can stay. And in that washing, you are made weightless. What remains is only what cannot be taken. Awareness. Not your awareness, just awareness. Silent, vast, unmoved. Can you feel it now? When you stop clinging, even sorrow becomes soft. Even pain begins to sing in a different tone. Not as an enemy, but as a messenger. It tells you where the fire of attachment still burns. It invites you to step back, to bow, to release. This is not detachment as numbness, but detachment as reverence. You do not push life away. You simply stop demanding that it stay. And in doing so, you see it more clearly than ever. Look at the tree outside your window. if you have one, or if not, imagine it. The way it stands, the way it changes with the seasons. It loses its leaves without complaint. It does not cry in winter or cling to its blossoms in spring. It simply is. Can you be like that? Rooted but free? The Eightfold Path does not ask you to become holy overnight. It asks you to walk. Just one step. Right view, right intention, right speech. And when you falter, right effort. When you are lost, right mindfulness. When your hands tremble, right concentration. There is no arrival, only a deepening spiral, a shedding, a surrender. The Buddha did not hand us answers. He gave us a mirror. Look into it now. What do you see? A name, a body, a story, or something more ancient, more silent, more still? The world outside you spins with its politics, its prices, its hunger for validation. But here in this small circle of breath and presence, you remember you are not the storm. You are the I. The wind does not ask where it is going. The river does not question its path. They move in accordance with what is. They do not resist. And so they do not suffer. But the human mind, so clever, so noisy, tries to control the current. It carves its identity into the flow, insisting, I am this or I must have that. It clings to the future like a drowning man to driftwood, all the while forgetting that both the wood and the water are illusions. Sit now not to fix your life, but to understand that it cannot be fixed because it was never broken. What you call brokenness is simply resistance to impermanence. You wanted love to stay. You wanted youth to linger. You wanted certainty in a world built on mystery, but even mountains crumble. Even stars die. What made you think the self would be any different? And yet this is not a cause for fear. It is a call to awaken. When you see that everything changes, something within you begins to soften. That which is harsh becomes tender. That which is urgent becomes quiet. You start to see your own mind like a dream you are slowly waking from. The thoughts, just flickers. The emotions, just passing weather. Even your most painful memory is like a footprint in a riverbed. Visible, then gone. This is the beauty of anatta, now, non-self. You are not what you think you are. You are not your trauma, not your success, not even your body. These are garments the spirit wears for a while, but the wearer, that is emptiness. And from emptiness, all compassion flows. Because when you are no longer trapped in your own reflection, you begin to see others clearly. You no longer need them to fulfill you, or praise you, or heal your wounds. You simply meet them where they are, with quiet love without demand. This is karuna, compassion without self-interest. The open hand, the gentle gaze, the patient ear. In these minutes of silence, you are remembering what the noise made you forget. That peace is not the absence of pain, but the absence of resistance. That joy is not something added to life, but something revealed when you stop trying to possess it. That meaning is not given, it is discovered in presence. Can you sit with this stillness a little longer? You are not waiting for anything. You are not trying to become someone. You are simply resting in the space between each breath, where all becoming ends and pure being begins. There is a still point in all things, a silence beneath the sounds, a stillness beneath the movement. It does not shout, it does not demand, but it is always there, waiting for you to remember. This is shunyata, emptiness. Not a void, but a fullness that contains all things without attachment. The cup is useful because it is empty. The heart is wise because it lets go. When you touch this truth, you stop asking life to fill you. You begin to see that you are life, you are, and that nothing is missing. The world tells you to build, to gather, to prove. But Buddha taught the opposite, to unbuild the illusions, to release what gathers dust, to dissolve the need to prove anything at all. He sat beneath the Bodhi tree, not to become a god, but to become nothing. And in becoming nothing, he saw everything. Can you feel that in your own body now? The quiet miracle of existing with no need to explain, no need to justify, no need to defend. The chest rising and falling, the breath entering and leaving, sensation, awareness, space. Perhaps your mind wants to interrupt, to name this feeling, to seek a goal, to measure the progress. Let it try, but you need not follow. Watch it as you would a bird passing across the sky. Do not cling to its wings. Let it fly. Let it disappear. The path of the awakened is not linear. It spirals like incense smoke. You may return again and again to the same breath, the same wound, the same lesson. But each time you come, with new eyes, softer hands, a quieter heart. This is the fruit of mindfulness, not control, but intimacy. You become intimate with your fear, and so it no longer controls you. You become intimate with your sadness, and it softens into compassion. You become intimate with each moment, and suddenly the future loses its grip. Even desire, not that endless thirst, begins to loosen. Not because you fought it, but because you understood it. Desire is not the enemy, it is the teacher. It points to the illusion that something outside of you can complete what is already whole. But now you begin to see you were never lacking. You were only asleep. In 20 minutes of true presence, more can shift than in 20 years of struggle. Still the body. Watch the breath. Let the old stories melt. There is nowhere to go. Nothing to fix. Just this moment, vast, silent enough. The final breath of this silence does not come with a thunderclap. It arrives like dawn, unnoticed until the darkness is gone. If you are still here, listening with your whole being, then something ancient within you has already begun to stir. Not as a thought, not as a feeling, but as a remembering that you were never the storm. You were the open sky. In this sky, there is no division, no self and other, no gain and loss, no success and failure. These were the illusions that kept you running. That told you the next achievement would bring peace, that the next love would make you whole, that if you just worked a little harder, you could finally rest. But rest is not a reward. It is your nature. Like the still pond that reflects the moon, you do not need to strive, only to be still. Let that truth settle in your bones. You are not behind in life. You are not late. You are not broken. You are simply being called inward, called not to escape the world, but to see it as it is, fleeting, beautiful, burning like incense toward its end, to witness each breath like a monk watches the flame, with reverence, not resistance. When the Buddha smiled beneath the Bodhi tree, it was not because suffering had ended. It was because the illusion of separation had. He saw clearly. There is no me and you. No this and that. Only one great river flowing endlessly, changing form, never ceasing. You are that river. You are also the one who watches it, and you are the space in which it flows. Do not try to hold these words. Let them wash over you. Let them dissolve the crust of forgetting. Let them leave only the echo of stillness. Perhaps in the coming days, you will be tempted again by noise, by craving, by the familiar ache to become something. That is the nature of the mind. But now something in you will remember the way silence tasted, the way your breath felt when you stopped trying, the way presence alone was enough. And perhaps in some quiet hour, you will return to this stillness, not out of effort, but out of love, because the awakened one no longer seeks the world, for she has remembered the truth within